truth seeker.
Yes. Just do it! David! 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 David!
Chocolate chip.
David! 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 David!
It's an Alpha One.
David!
It's our Big Dumb Mouth podcast.
David!
Now, here's your hosts.
David!
Midnight Mike, Juicy Joe, a.k.a. Flametown, and Gretchen.
You will be dead now if it wasn't my David!
Hey, welcome back, everyone, to another podcast adventure. My name's Midnight Mike. Gretchen's over there right now.
None of you did anything.
David!
The David montage.
Joe is not here today. He's not. It's actually recently come out that he was on Epstein's calendar, so he fled to Mexico for a little bit. But that's going to be cleared up here in the next few days.
Yeah, is he working or is he on vacation? What's happening?
I think it's a unknown situation.
A working vacation?
Could be, yeah. And, Joe has various business dealings in Mexico. He's global. He's a global entity. He's a businessman of various skill. Negotiating powers.
It's 2023, Mike. He's a business person.
Business person. I'm sorry. You're right. He's a business person. Yay! But he will not be here Wednesday or Saturday. He's got a lot of things to do.
Crap.
So it's just us. Maybe, I was going to invite Charlie on. Maybe. He's the only one that really understands this show. But he does a show on Saturday. He does the TNT live talk radio show.
His radio show. He's too big for this.
I know, exactly. He's too big. But he does a live talk radio show. I'll post a link to it. And he does it Saturdays, like an hour before this show. So he's almost a competitor. But
what if we were to start the show an hour earlier and call in?
Yes, what you're saying.
To his show, and then we'll just take over and run the show over the phone line.
Yeah, well, we could do that if it's. I guess it doesn't really matter on quality. We do it regardless. Doesn't matter. We'll just do it.
I know you strive for quality, so I'm sure.
Yeah.
You would have issues with everything getting necked down to a tiny phone connection.
Yeah,
your phone's bad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, we got a lot of things to get to. We do. We have a lot of interesting news, interesting topics to get to. But it is Wednesday. Why delay? Let's talk about some Alex Jones clips of the week. Now, our producer gets the intrepid producer. Is that a good adjective to use?
No, not intrepid.
What about flatulent?
He's not flatulent either. He would be reliable.
Well, I think he needs a better adjective than reliable. He does a lot of good work. It's like
what if we just started calling him Old Reliable?
Old Reliable. Okay. Okay. Old Reliable gets putting out some good clips for us, doing a lot of work. And so let's do some of the...
wait. How about Steadfast?
Steadfast. I do like Steadfast. There's a lot of things we could say about him.
He's a backbone like a ramrod.
Yeah, he's got a backbone like a ramrod. There's no doubt about that.
Wasn't he describing like his wife when he said that?
Yes, he was. I would imagine he was saying very sturdy woman, well-proportioned, good hips.
Because he can prop him up when he starts to stumble around. Run that one with, how about an Alex Jones? Put that on my tombstone.
Oh, this is tough. I got to go all the way over there.
It's like 3 different screens.
Let's see if I can do this.
He's a backbone like a ramrod.
Put that on my tombstone.
There we go.
There you go.
This is why I practice. This is why I sit down here and do nothing but practice. Okay, let's start off with Alex Jones Clips of the Week. This is a short one. This is from last Thursday. Here we go.
Count Dracula bit me, now I'm a vampire. I sold my soul to Satan. My main mission is just kill all the Jews. I'm so sick of these black people.
Jesus. Wow. coming in hard, coming in hot and hard.
I'm curious about his vampire experience. What happened there?
Yeah, I'm curious about his cryptid experience. This is Monster Maze, so any kind of additional information that you might have, Alex, about vampire encounters, we'd love to know.
An actual goblin vampire.
In D&D, that would be a hybrid race, and
which is now racist.
Well, you have to pick. Are you going to take the attributes of the vampire or the goblin? And I think if it all comes down to it, you want the attributes and the special powers of the vampire. I think they have to have better powers. But
I think Alex would disagree with you, and he would say the goblin.
Maybe
The goblin.
Okay, he's a big gamer. He knows. God, what a nightmare Alex Jones would be at a D&D table. You wouldn't be able to get
You would
the
not
campaign.
get past character creation.
No, the characters. I mean, 4 hours in character creation. All right, here is a Tuesday. I think just yesterday. Here we go.
Dumbass. My dad finally beat the hell out of me. Oh my God. It's massive. Take your phone off speakerphone, brother. That's funny. Are you going to post this to the internet as a joke? I appreciate your call. The way you stop the spiders is you draw this razor blade across your carotid artery and then they go away. Well, you're a boy. You're playing with a dump truck. Women eating feces. Never get that out of your head. You know, the clip just starts and all of a sudden it's a woman eating crap. I'm sorry to be gross here.
Oh, there you go.
He's all over the place.
He loves his feces stuff.
Piles of feces, riding on the walls with feces. The lowest form of crap. It's all real. And it's all happening.
And then the last one is from today. Here we go.
I love Harry Potter. I love it! Destroy the planet! Hail Satan! Hail Google! Hail AI! I'm gay. It's actually in the Quran that a shepherd can have sex with a boy. This is absolutely disgusting. Well, Governor DeSantis is going to execute pedophiles. And I said, well, the Secret Service may have a problem with that. You know, I really hate black people and the N-word.
Right. He had like a real quick I'm gay in there. It was almost kind of like it was in the background. It was off mic. Yeah, let's see here. Here it is.
I'm gay.
I'm assuming that's taken out of context. I don't know for sure.
Which is just one of those things. I mean, it continues to baffle me. There's been so many lawsuits against him for various odds and ends. They could take just anything out of context and probably hammer him into the ground on this stuff.
Yeah, we do it for fun because he's a bombastic, entertaining person. He presents some good information. He's got some interesting takes, but he's over the top at times, very theatrical, as what we were talking about in the Discord earlier in regards to like Steven Crowder. It can be very theatrical. Jones is the same way, over the top. He gets attention, obviously, and that's why he is so fun to play clips from.
He's also, I mean, it may be years after the fact, but he's often proven right about stuff.
Yeah, he's when it comes to like hardcore policies, like New World Order policies and like think tanks and that kind of stuff, he reads the documents. He has the documents, and yet some of it sounds Looney Tunes at the time, but when it comes to training exercises, thought experiments, and then they write papers about that stuff, and all Alex Jones does is read those training exercises. Yeah, it sounds wacky, but some of it turns out to be true and happened in real life. So he's been proven, like on a lot of the big topics, I would say he's got a pretty good percentage rating. Obviously, there's some stuff that's it's tougher to prove. Like lizard people, which I don't even know if he believes in, but he thinks that there's a demonic force on this planet that is in charge. It's tough to prove a demonic, satanic force that is running a lot of this weird stuff. That's more of a belief system,
Agreed, but I certainly wouldn't bet against him.
No, and it would be tough, too. A lot of the stuff that we see is it seems pretty insane, and I guess you could call it demonic. Sure, we could do that. But we'll move on. We won't debate that. There's a lot of things to get to. And
did we get through the Wednesday ones?
That's all I got for Alex Jones Clips of the Week. Yeah, it's a bit.
Oh, he must have been out on Monday. I see. Okay,
yeah.
Owen hosted Friday and Monday, so we're missing 2 days. So,
but it is May.
Monster May.
It is Monster May. I didn't know if I was going to do this segment this year. Where
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm unprepared for this, Mike.
Well, aren't we all? I wasn't sure because I've been doing Monster May, I believe, since 2018, 2019. Every May, usually
Definitely 18. I remember that.
okay. And typically, I talk about cryptids. I talk about all the weird little creatures out there. Maybe not every episode, but definitely on a weekly basis. And cryptozoology, unless you listen to like podcasts that just talk about that, some stuff gets lost. And there's a lot of stories. I'm not sure if we're breaking any new ground here with anything that we're covering, but these are fun topics. And I love to consider the possibilities of these cryptozoological creatures. In this segment, I will be playing some clips from a little show hosted by William Shatner. William Shatner hosts a show called The Unexplained. Now, that is UNX. Forget about that E. That E gets in the way. It's unexplained. And in this show, he goes over various weird topics. It's not unlike what his old buddy Leonard Nimoy did back in the 70s with In Search Of. But this is Shatner, so you know it's going to be better. And in this first clip, he kind of gives an overview about everything that may be possible with the Bigfoot phenomenon. In this episode, that's what he is dedicating it to Bigfoot. He does some narration throughout the episode, but mostly it's like reenactments. They have other people going out talking to people on the ground about Bigfoot, but this is what Shatner is saying.
It hides in the shadows. A giant hairy creature. It walks on 2 feet and watches us with glowing eyes. Does Bigfoot really exist? What is that? Part ape, part man? As crazy as it seems, there are many who believe that not only is such a creature real, but they've seen it, tracked it, even photographed it. But then if Bigfoot does exist, what is it? Where does it come from? How many are there? And perhaps more importantly, should we be afraid of it? Well, that is what we'll try and find out.
And that's exactly what he does throughout the episode. Now, what I like about this is that they give a history. They talk to people that have had Bigfoot experiences out there, and then they also take the approach of talking about the division in the Bigfoot community, where there are people in the Bigfoot community who are absolutely hell bent on convincing everyone else that Bigfoot is real and it's a North American primate. There's nothing special or unique about Bigfoot. And then there's the other side that believe that Bigfoot may be a supernatural creature. There might be something that is not entirely tangible about this creature. But we'll get to that, those segments here. But first, he's going to talk about, well, he hires somebody else to talk about the history of Bigfoot. Here it is.
Before 1958, people didn't use the word Bigfoot. But it was in 1958 in Northern California, guys were building a road, found footprints around their gear when they would come back in the morning, and a guy named Jerry Crew made plaster footprints of these tracks and showed them to a reporter in Eureka, and they dubbed it Bigfoot. That was where the name first originated and got into American vocabulary.
Photos of Jerry Crew's cast of giant footprints made headlines across the country. Many Americans came to believe that a tall bipedal ape-like creature roamed the forests of the Pacific Northwest.
I grew up in Washington State, where it's hard to underestimate Bigfoot's power. Bigfoot is the mascot of different companies. Bigfoot is all over billboards. As a young boy in Washington State, I fully believed in Bigfoot's existence.
Well, thank you. Yes, a lot of people do. Now, in this next little segment here, they go out and they're talking to these people, and they seem perfectly reasonable. They're having this extraordinary encounter with a Bigfoot, and it doesn't stop there. They see something else that makes it all more interesting.
The Sierra Nevada mountains, spring 2019. Researcher Robert Cotter is leading a Bigfoot expedition in a remote part of the wilderness.
It was about dusk, getting a little bit darker, and all of a sudden we hear these horrendous footsteps. As we looked in front of us, what we saw had 2 legs. And it looked like the conical-shaped head, broad shoulders, and it's sitting right there. I'm looking at it.
Robert and his companions were astonished by the 2-legged creature moving near them. But what happened next was even more extraordinary.
As soon as that happened, it was like somebody had parked their car down there and turned on headlights.
What is that?
Lit up the whole area. And I remember looking at that, and the lights stayed on. 1, 2, 3, off. And then it just went silent.
They said they continue to see lights in the woods after their Bigfoot encounter, and that's not uncommon. When you're out, especially deep in the forest, it's a common thing. I think if you're encountering the paranormal out in the woods, there are reports of lights in the woods that can't be really pinpointed. Yeah, a lot of debunkers will say, "Oh, it's an aircraft, it's a helicopter, it's a car." But the more that people try to track down the lights, it's almost like they're endlessly walking to something that keeps moving further and further away from them until it just disappears. And in this instance, the close proximity of the Bigfoot sighting and the lights or UFOs is not uncommon. Typically, when you have UFO sightings soon after or before, there are Bigfoot sightings. The book written by Stan Gordon, Silent Invasion, catalogs these experiences, specifically in Pennsylvania throughout the 60s and 70s. But there's plenty of events like that. Just a brief one before I move on to the last clip about it. But in 1967 in Baja, California, I don't know if it's tough to verify, but hey, this is a story, okay? Military intelligence units were called to a remote desert location where a UFO had crashed. Several big trucks went to the scene, including some equipped with what appeared to be special devices. When the unit arrived at the UFO crash site, a pungent odor permeated the air. The object itself was oblong in shape, was broken in 2, but apparently landed before exploding. Lying in several places were bodies of the occupants. They were described as being hideous. They were huge, about 9 feet tall, covered with fine hair, and with a perfect likeness of what has been described as Bigfoot. Their faces were hairless, mongoloid in appearance, with flat, wide noses. The mouths, which appeared to have been in agony, showed a row of teeth with what looked like stubby fangs. One of the creatures was apparently found alive. When the men attempted to give it water, the creature then reached up and grabbed the man's hand and shoulder and then gasped and died. So I guess a classic movie death right there. Each of the creatures wore a copper-colored belt with a huge buckled rifled with small buttons. It is said that the belts glowed when activated, but the source was not disclosed or found out. On the creature's feet were boots resembling sandals, but with very thick soles. It's rumored that the remains were taken to the Yuma Air Base in Arizona, but unknown. So that's 1967.
There was a lot of detail about a belt.
Yeah, a lot of interesting detail about belts and shoes, which I like. I like it when people comment about the accessories of these creatures. What do they got? They got like coach bags. Are they coach bag people, or maybe they just like hypercolor. Everyone likes hypercolor. But no, these guys have gold belts and sandals. Typical California hippies.
No, but again, no details about their genitals.
No. They looked down at the belt, didn't go any lower.
They were close. They were like, another couple in. Nope, just going to talk about this belt.
The belt's pretty interesting by itself. But so this last clip from Shatner's Unexplained, this is where it's like Bigfoot goes beyond the physical, like a primate, and then the last clip we had a Bigfoot and UFOs. This is kind of Bigfoot paranormal kind of stuff here. So it's a little bit longer, but pretty interesting. Here we go.
That night, Joe and Janice were sitting around a fire pit when Joe noticed something strange.
As we're talking, I see between these barn structures 2 very bright, very vivid lime green lights, and they're floating across this open area between these structures. I thought, wow, Tennessee's got some pretty extremely large lightning bugs out here.
But the green lights started to come closer to him, and Joe realized that what he thought were fireflies were actually glowing eyes.
I could see the structure of a very large, long-haired, shaggy, what looked like a very muscular ape. And I looked over at Janice, and she's just looking at me with this grin.
What is that?
And she says, he wants to know if you're going to go back to Colorado and tell people you saw fireflies. How Janice would even know that thought even entered my head, brief as that thought was, I really have no idea.
Joe was astonished to see that Janice seemed to be able to mentally communicate with the creature, which was somehow reading his mind too.
Janice said, he wants you to come back to the ditch line. He wants to see you, he wants you to see him. And I thought, oh, this is insane.
Let's do it.
But she gives me this big flashlight, so I started walking over there and back out behind the house. And I pointed the light forward, and here in this open area stood this guy that had to be about 8 or 9 feet tall. I've never heard or seen anything like it in my entire life.
You'd think that after standing toe-to-toe with Bigfoot, Joe would remember everything about such an encounter. But as it turns out, Joe's memory is a little fuzzy.
I don't know what happened at the tail end of that. I just remember standing back at the camp talking to Janice. I don't remember walking away. I don't remember how did that end, which is, to me, even now, all these years later, is really bizarre.
To many observers, Joe's description of Bigfoot sounds less like a primate and more like something paranormal.
And you also noticed when he got back home that after he got out of the shower, he found like this hole in the back of his skull. And he said he could pretty much fit his pinky in there. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but
it's not good. Don't do that.
Yeah, it's typically you don't want to stick fingers in holes in your heads, but hey, to each their own. And he found that to be kind of curious because there was no pain associated with it. He didn't even know it was there until he was basically like washing his hair. So missing time, missing memory with this Bigfoot encounter, which I don't know is common with Bigfoot encounters. So that's why it kind of goes into the UFO paranormal area of it all.
Well, we've definitely had stories of Bigfoots being associated with UFO sightings, things like that at the same time or same location.
Yeah.
But never the missing time that I'm aware of. We've had UFO missing time.
Yeah, but not Bigfoot missing time. So that's a bit of a curiosity. Also, people have experienced headaches, queasiness, a general feeling of being sick sometimes in the close proximity of Bigfoot. Whether I doubt that has anything to do with the pungent stench, but it could. But
we know it's definitely not Havana syndrome.
No, definitely not Havana syndrome. Not as far as we know. Unconfirmed. The CIA probably still wouldn't rule it out. So there you go. There are some clips from William Shatner's TV series, Unexplained. And I will continue watching it. It's just kind of fun to pick through. Like, not every episode's a banger, but when he talks about UFOs And cryptids, it's a winner for me. I like those.
Does he? He doesn't. I mean, he does voiceover like a bookend intro outro sort of thing. He doesn't. He's not out on location hosting these things.
Oh, he doesn't leave his house. No, yeah, I think he just.
Is he in studio or is he just voiceover?
No, he's in studio. They have him in studio somewhere, but he's not leaving that chair. There's no doubt about that. He's Shatner. He's not.
Worked hard for that chair. That's the Kirk chair.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to leave that thing. He earned it.
Monster May.
All right. There is so much going on in the world, so many different headlines. We are going to see if we can just plow through what is going on in this world, and maybe we can come up with some idea about what's happening and where it's all going. So here we go. Let's get it going. And so I have my top news over here, Cretchen. And
is it all happening or just partially happening?
It's all happening.
It's all here. It's all going down. It's all happening.
It's all going down too.
It's all going down. Exactly. So I'll just start with this one. I wanted to bring this up, and I like rock and roll. People know this about me. I'm a rock and roller, and I like to talk about rock and roll. And this is kind of relevant to the overall conversation of what's going on in the world today. So I'll bring this up on screen. I'll play the audio over here, please. Here we go. Here is, oh, you know what? It's not up on screen.
There's nothing there.
There's nothing there. There's nothing there.
There are no words there.
Okay, here we go.
Kiss singer and guitarist Paul Stanley is making headlines after releasing a statement onto his Twitter account yesterday surrounding his thoughts and opinions on gender reassignment for children. Paul Stanley shared, "My thoughts on what I'm seeing. There is a big difference between teaching acceptance and normalizing, and even encouraging participation in a lifestyle that confuses young children into questioning their sexual identification as though some sort of game, and then parents, in some cases, allow it. There are individuals who, as adults, may decide reassignment is their needed choice, but turning this into a game or parents normalizing it as some sort of natural alternative, or believing that because a little boy likes to play dress up in his sister's clothes or a girl in her brother's, we should lead them steps further down a path that's far from the innocence of what they are doing. With many children who have no real sense of sexuality or sexual experiences, caught up in the fun of using pronouns and saying what they identify as. Some adults mistakenly confuse teaching acceptance with normalizing and encouraging a situation that has been a struggle for those truly affected and have turned it into a sad and dangerous fad." Stanley's post received several reactions, including some from fellow musicians. Dee Snider reshared Stanley's post and wrote, "You know what? There was a time where I felt pretty too. Glad my parents didn't jump to any conclusions. Well said, Paul Stanley." The Offspring guitarist Noodles gave a different reaction than Dee Snider, where he shared, "This is a very disappointing take, especially from someone who wore high heels, makeup, and teased up hair his whole career. As a young kid, your band helped teach me that I could be whatever I wanted to be. I guess it was just gimmickry after all." Paul Stanley's statement comes at a time where this is a hot topic of discussion throughout the nation.
Cancel. Just a quick question on this. Why does the voiceover for this sound like it's somebody who's just learning how to operate somebody's mouth?
This comes from Rock Feed on YouTube, one of the premier rock news channels. The guy's got a lot of followers. I'm not going to talk shit about him. How dare you besmirch his name?
I don't know his name. It's just his voiceover isn't very good, and he is learning to operate his tongue.
He's got the William Shatner cadence.
I get, or I don't know if he's trying to do that, or it's just weird. Also, why would they put if it's news? Why would they put a music bed below it? It just makes it difficult.
Yeah. Well, it's rock feed, so he's got to rock it up, and
he's got to let you know this came from a rock channel.
Yeah, I think that essentially that's what he's doing there.
What if you put some like light jazz below it, maybe some Herb Alpert? It wouldn't have the same effect.
No, it would not. This is Paul Stanley of KISS coming out, throwing himself in the middle of the the inclusivity transgender debate.
Well, he's focusing specifically on kids.
Yes.
He doesn't like when the kids are functionally getting pushed into this by their parents.
Yeah. And at the end there, so he's got some support from the old rockers like Dee Snider of Twisted Sister. Although Noodles, if you Noodles from The Offspring, I'll bring his statement back up there. He said, Noodles, the guitar player from The Offspring, said, very disappointing take, especially from someone who wore high heels makeup.
Because that's the same thing.
And teased up his hair his whole career. So, yeah, and he did that as an adult, He didn't do it as a preteen, I guess. And then he went on to say, as a young kid, your band helped me teach me that I could be whatever I wanted to be. So he was into kind of freedom and expressing yourself how you see fit, and that's fine. I guess it's just all gimmickry after all. So
don't want to wait till you know me better.
Okay.
Did Gene Simmons say grab his dick and twist it?
Not that I know of. I mean, I don't know how Gene would feel about this. This can't be good for business. And we know Gene loves good business. And so does Paul. These guys run, they love their business so much they've had like 7 different final world tours. Like the tours to end all tours. They said, this is it. This is the final one. They loved it so much and they're making so much money. They've had 7 final tours on KISS.
There will always be a final tour, followed by a reunion tour.
So he's wading into this debate, and Noodles, Offspring, they got into some news a few years ago because they kicked out their drummer for not taking the COVID-19 vaccine. And I believe we commented on it at the time, and a lot of other people did, saying that's not really respecting other people's choices. And I get it. Everyone was scared as heck at the time. I would say, well, not everyone.
I was going to say,
I would say 40% of the population where it was scared as heck. The rest were kind of waiting to see what happens. But given the most recent news, and I'll transition over to this story here. Here we go.
You're transitioning now?
Well, this is related because this is Offspring news. I mentioned COVID-19 and the vaccine. So this headline here, proof the FDA knew on September 17th, 2021, that people who got the COVID vaccine were 2 times more likely to be infected.
That's not good news.
So it turns out that if you want to not get sick, the Offspring's drummer made the right move.
Yay! What was the date on that one? They said they knew when?
September 17th, 2021.
Okay.
So why didn't they warn us at the time? Instead, they remained silent. The madness should have been the opposite, or the mandate should have been the opposite. Hospitals should have fired anyone who got vaccinated. And there's documents here from the FDA right here. So I guess
I would say in general, there's been a lot of backtracking on this.
A ton, because I remember at the time when they used emergency use authorization to get this through, is that this was to prevent the spread, and the way you prevent spreading of sickness is to not get sick. And if you're 2 times more likely to get sick, that means you're probably 2 times more likely to spread it. I'm not a math wizard there, statistician, but that seems like it's along those lines. That might sound true. So yeah, that's coming out. There's a lot of weird stuff that is going on with this, and it would kind of explain a lot. Like anybody who got the vaccine, how quickly did you get sick after you got the vaccine? I I would say a good number of people.
But it would have been worse if they hadn't got the vaccine, Mike.
That's what they say. That's impossible to prove. And that's impossible to prove.
I'm on my 27th booster, and even though I keep getting sick, it could have been worse.
Well, I mean, this comes out from the FDA. There's various links to the Cleveland Clinic in here. There is it's well documented, and now Fauci's coming out now saying we shouldn't play the blame game on this. We can't play the blame game. You guys, we didn't know a lot. We can't play the blame game.
It's called the Fauci effect.
Yeah.
We didn't know.
We just didn't know. But they did know back in 2021. But that may have, I would imagine, that would have caused the sale and use of the vaccine to absolutely plummet. If you said to them, by the way, when you take this is going to increase your chances of getting COVID. But maybe that was the point all along. What do you think about that?
I think the point all along was to make a bunch of money.
Well, yeah, they certainly did that.
Look, I need money.
They certainly
have some money, but I need way more money.
Oh, okay.
I want the money.
There you go. That was you just summarized a whole bunch of those meetings with the CDC,
pretty
FDA,
much,
and all that.
Let's keep this quiet. Put Fauci on the street with the DC mayor. Guilt people into taking this stuff. Yeah, they're going to get sick, but our bottom line is going to be terrific. It's going to be great.
Hey, that fourth house in Colorado doesn't buy itself.
Mm-hmm. So I'll move on with some more headlines here. So in international news, there's some shenanigans going on, and people really don't know what to make of this just yet. But I'll play this. This is from, I believe, NBC. This is mainstream news.
WNBC?
No, I think this is just regular NBC, not WNBC.
You got to say it the right way.
This is MSNBC, so you know they're on point. MSNBC. Let me bring up my.
I still can't not hear it that way when someone says NBC.
You got to. If you watch Private Parts, you got to say it that way.
Everyone loves pig vomit.
This is from MSNBC. Here we go.
With some breaking news, Russian authorities are accusing Ukraine of attempting to attack the Kremlin overnight with a pair of drones. Russian officials labeled the alleged attempt as a, quote, terrorist act, saying the Russian military and security forces disabled the drones before they could strike. The Kremlin added President Vladimir Putin is safe and continuing to work with his schedule unchanged. We should note there is no verified evidence the attack provided to us or anyone else by Russian officials. According to Reuters, a senior Ukrainian presidential official says...
Go back like about 5 seconds.
Okay.
We should note there is no verified evidence the attack provided to us or anyone else by Russian officials. According to Reuters, a senior Ukrainian...
he just said right there, he just dropped it in.
There's no evidence.
There's no evidence of this happening, but I noticed it's a 10-minute video of them going on and on and on and on and on about this.
Yes. It's a 10-minute video of no evidence. The only evidence is that there is some cell camera footage, some cell video of smoke over what is the Russian version of the White House. Now, the Russians are claiming they shot down drones that were approaching. They're claiming it was an assassination attempt. Our media and maybe even our government saying, well, we see no evidence of this. You guys are claiming this. You see no evidence of this. But come on. At this point, yeah, that very well may be true, but there's other headlines that are flat out suggesting that this is a false flag. That this comes from the National Review. Did Ukraine attempt a drone attack on the Kremlin, or was it a Russian false flag?
Or was it NATO, Western allies, whatever, us doing it to prolong this war?
Yeah, or to really ramp it up because we have some psychos in power.
Or lick it up.
Lick it up, shoot it up, ramp it up, whatever you want to do.
Does this report, this long video, does it have the actual footage in it? Because I've seen footage floating around. See if I can find it.
I no, this was I got this clip earlier today. I don't have the footage of it. It hasn't.
It's going into the carrot shop.
But it does have Joe Scarborough talking. And do you want to hear Joe Scarborough weigh in on this?
Yes, and a reminder, Joe Scarborough is the one who allegedly killed his pregnant intern by bashing her head against the side of a desk.
Yeah, let's listen to Joe.
Location services can be disabled, but you would need to be fairly skilled at doing that. But you couldn't fly a small drone like that all the way from Kyiv or anywhere in Ukraine.
Yeah, and Richard, Joe here. This does. I mean, none of this adds up, especially if you look at it from the Ukrainian side. Can you talk about how the Ukrainians have known from the start that so much of their success depends on support from the West, support from Europe, support from the United States, and those allies have made it very clear that they will fight to defend Ukraine, but they draw the line at Ukraine escalating this into something that could lead to a third world war. Could you explain how, again, as the Ukrainians said today, would be counterproductive, but also how it would just be foolish because they would risk cutting off the supplies of war material that are helping them exist right now?
Oh, there you go. There it is. Doing the normal talking points. Who knows?
Yeah, it sounded like he was getting stuff in his ear, and they were trying to get him to come around to his conclusion there.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, it looks like whether Russia did it to themselves or it was Ukraine or NATO backed, the result's going to be the same. There's probably going to be a ramp up. I guess the goal would be, if this was the Ukrainians or NATO attacking, that they want to force Russia to not have as many troops on the front lines and deploy back because their security is breached or whatever. And if Russia did it to themselves, that would be justification for larger strikes or maybe even increased use of more advanced weapons, deadlier weapons.
Here's my guess: this was Western nonsense, or Ukraine. I don't think it used Ukraine. I think it was Western nonsense to do this to continue poking the bear of Russia, to get them to send more troops or to go on more offenses. Because if you look at what Russia has done in the last over a year, they really haven't taken any additional territory. They're just sitting there. So they have no intention of, quote unquote, invading and absorbing Ukraine. That's not their intention. But we need to keep poking that bear so we can keep things going, so we can keep sending money or arms and weapons and equipment over that direction, so we can keep that 10% for the big guy going.
But in the grand scheme, if we're also supposed to fight China, why would you want to continue this conflict over there? Unless you've already decided that you're going to give up Taiwan to China and you're not really going to fight over there.
Yeah, that one's a little different because Taiwan, they in recent memory have already fought China during the hell was the name of the revolution in the 40s? Anyway,
China.
They've got nukes, so that one will go nuclear real quick if they start poking at that one. And to your point, they're going to have to let that one go because you can't then make China the bad guy because we rely on China for way too much of our economy.
Yes.
Whereas Russia, you can be like, Russia, what do we get from Russia?
Exactly. What, oil? Come on. We're doing without that just fine. We got the Saudis backing us, right?
We have our own oil, but we can't because that's bad too.
So that's,
by the way, footage of this in the carrot shop if you want it.
Footage in the carrot shop. Okay, let's take a look. Let's see here. Let's bring this up. This is from Twitter. We'll bring this up on screen. And what we're looking at here, it looks like a UFO or a drone flying in, and they shoot it down. I wonder how they shot that thing down.
They didn't shoot it down.
What happened? What do you think?
That's a small drone with a flare on it.
With a small drone with a flare on it? You think
with a flare, or basically flare or fireworks? I mean, that was not an explosive device.
So you don't think that thing was shot down?
No.
So it was exploded to make it look like it was shot down. That would lead to
No. I mean, what I'm saying is this was them trying to, quote unquote, bomb the Kremlin. So this was, the drone itself had that on there. So it flew over, got directly above the dome of whatever building that is, and off it went.
So you think this was like to set fire like that, or because I mean, it didn't look like a super high explosive. I mean, it's hard to tell.
No, it didn't. That's why clearly this is bullcrap. So basically fireworks or a flare that they set off over there. And the best thing you could argue is, well, if we can get this over your over the walls of the Kremlin, what else can we get to?
Yeah, I think that's
you
the
make
point.
that argument, but
yeah, I think that's the point.
By the way, you notice there's a flag back there in the background that is waving at one point, and when the explosion, the firework goes off on this thing close to it, it's so powerful the flag doesn't move.
Oh wow, yeah, it doesn't do anything.
Okay, buddy.
All right, well, tensions are rising. Meanwhile, back here in the States, things are getting even more goofy. Let's listen to some audio. So we have Ghislaine Maxwell in jail. There are new documents that have been dumped related to Epstein, but Ghislaine's brother
dumps.
Big, massive dumps. You know that, Gretchen. Come on, you know that. Where's my massive?
So you know what I say to that?
Oh.
Dump all you want. I hope you dump a lot.
Big, massive dumps.
But Ghislaine's brother is coming out defending his sister, who's in jail. So here's
A household name, but her high-profile case probably had you glued to the TV. We are talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, who, along with Jeffrey Epstein, was convicted of sex trafficking young girls.
I actually met her sister several years ago here in the Bay Area, and only recently had the chance to talk with their brother from London. It's an interview you'll only see on Cron 4. From princes to presidents, big names are associated with the Epstein scandal.
Everything that's catnip to tabloids, sex, royalty, politicians, a lady at the center of it all.
Ghislaine Maxwell is at the center of an international sex scandal involving her former boyfriend, Jeffrey Epstein. Speaking for her, her brother, Ian Maxwell.
She wished she had never met Jeff Epstein. And because the havoc that relationship has caused.
Ghislaine Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence at the Tallahassee Federal Prison for her role in sex trafficking underage victims. She's now filed an appeal saying she didn't get a fair trial.
It was basically a stitch-up from after Jeffrey Epstein died in U.S. government custody when William Barr was Attorney General.
The billionaire financier was found hanged in his jail cell in an apparent suicide.
The only person to actually take the fall is Jeff Epstein, and he's dead, of course. We don't really know
dead, so
the extent of what happened that night. His own family think he was murdered. My sister thinks he was murdered.
Ghislaine Maxwell believes she was blamed for Epstein's crimes to satisfy public outrage.
So
there
far,
are
no
victims
nation
here.
or
How
actual
do you
crimes.
address, how does she address their terrible experience?
She acknowledged their suffering.
I have to do it.
And has expressed considerable empathy for them.
Maxwell's appeal claims, among other things, that a juror failed to disclose he was a victim of child abuse. As for a reported little black book and secret videotapes, Ian Maxwell says if there were smoking guns, they would have come to the surface by now. Still, he fears for his sister's safety.
If there are other people that have not yet come into the prosecution's orbit and who may be powerful people, and don't wish to be involved in this, somehow that they would find it an ability to murder my sister or cause her to have an accident that looks like an accident but isn't.
It may take more than 6 months for her appeal to be heard. In the meantime, Ian Maxwell says his family is standing by their sister.
We are her family. We love her. We miss her. And we will support and defend her.
There have been a number of documentaries, many of them salacious, that look into the life and death of serial sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and his victims who have come forward to share their stories. So far, Ghislaine Maxwell has remained mostly silent during her trial and even now.
Let's just keep going, my friend.
But we're definitely not going to mention the fact that all these people were involved with Epstein, nor that somehow all of these sex trafficking accusations.
Thanks a lot, Raina. Let's get back to the breaking news, which is what happened to an American family in Mexico.
Sorry about that.
The sex trafficking allegations against Ghislaine Maxwell. Apparently, there's no actual people who are actually trafficking the people. It was just happened to
mysterious ghosts and phantoms, specters. But now it looks like the Wall Street Journal is reporting on Jeffrey Epstein even more. So this recent story by the Wall Street Journal is titled "Jeffrey Epstein Documents Part 2: Dinner with Lawrence Summers and Movie Screenings with Woody Allen." I believe the other document dump, the big massive first dump, was that Noam Chomsky had met with Jeffrey Epstein on several occasions. And so this just gets more strange and more strange the more you look into Jeffrey Epstein. He's tied to everyone. Everyone.
Big, massive dumps.
That's just a coincidence. Don't worry about that.
And he was a mover and shaker. He must have had dirt on so many different people, and no one looked into his background because he had all the money. Like billions and billions of dollars spreading around, buying influence, buying meetings with top thinkers and scientists in an effort to build some sort of a clone army of himself or some sort Yeah, I mean, that's what it looks like with some of when you read about this stuff in Zorro Ranch. No one talks about Zorro Ranch anymore.
Yeah, the ranch out in New Mexico where they were doing all sorts of genetic experiments. I mean, he was trying to hire women who all had certain genetic features, and it was very strange.
Yeah, he's like building his own clone army. It's weird, and and it's relevant because tomorrow's like May the 4th. So just to talk about Epstein and his clone army versus
that
Lucas's.
was a hell of a transition.
I'm just saying.
You just shifted without the clutch on that.
Yeah,
I think it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of sex trafficking, here's Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Good Lord.
Well, so this stuff is continuing to come out, and people are continuing to have answer questions about it. But they're really not. I don't think anything is really going to happen with this. I don't know.
No, I don't disagree with Ian that his sister was convicted just as a kind of convicted as proxy for Epstein.
Yeah, probably.
Not to say she wasn't involved in that sort of thing, but that's what they kind of threw the book at her for that. So
they had to get somebody. They had to show that somehow justice was being served. It was such a big story at the time. In an effort to maintain like the semblance of justice in this world, they had to do something. Because if they just didn't do anything, it would show that the system is it's officially rigged, and they're signing it. They're basically saying "F you" right to your face. It's not like they do that with other things, but they couldn't do it with this because Jeffrey Epstein died in jail. They had to maintain some sort of error. Like it's all like show at this point. It's a movie that they have to play out. They have to play it out, or else no one's going to continue to see the sequels, and they want people to see those sequels.
Yeah. No, that one was that one was way too blatant.
Yeah.
As far as like, oh, he died in jail on suicide watch, and the cameras they turned off, and they were asleep, and people weren't there, and it was weird. And
it's just a weird string of coincidences, you know.
Oopsie daisy.
Oops, yeah, we accidentally had the cameras turned off, and then oops, there were other cameras that were rolling, but we accidentally overwrote those hard drives, and we can't recover that footage.
Oopsie daisy.
And the guards that were supposed to be watching them, they were asleep.
Oopsie daisy.
Yeah, it was just too much to that one.
Yeah, a lot of different things. Oh, and by the way, Attorney General Barr, his dad hired Jeffrey Epstein to work at his college. That's weird.
And didn't they then hire Epstein himself to like teach math classes there or something?
Yes.
Just weird.
And Attorney General Barr, his dad, he wrote a book about intergalactic sex trade. He wrote a science fiction novel about intergalactic sex slave trade. How bizarre.
With a lead character named Jeff.
I don't think that's confirmed. Well, we'll move on. We'll move on. I got one or two more headlines, and then we'll pass it over to Gretchen. Maybe open the phone lines. We'll see. All right. Well, here's a headline here. The Pentagon scrambles 3 F-22 jets to intercept UFO over Hawaii. Yes.
That's good news.
I think Joe's out in Hawaii trying to destroy the place, but that's unconfirmed.
He's out there throwing rocks at the UFO?
He does not like Hawaii. Joe wants to destroy the entire place. It's going to take him a while, but...
really? Joe has some sort of vendetta against Hawaii?
As far as I know.
Hawaii?
But according to this news article, an object spotted over the remote Pacific state prompted the U.S. Air Force to send out 3 fighter jets last week. Earlier this year, there was a spat of sightings involving strange spherical balloon-like objects being sighted. Not only balloon-like objects.
These strange balloon-like objects, possibly balloons.
It looks like a balloon, but it's just it's like a balloon.
Balloon.
It doesn't identify as a balloon.
Yeah.
And we don't want to misidentify it because it's 2023 and we'll get canceled.
Earlier this year, there was a spat of sightings involving strange spherical balloon-like objects being sighted, not only over the United States, but also over Canada and beyond. What's beyond? The
hollow Earth?
I guess they say
Admiral Byrd's
United
entrance
States,
to the hollow Earth?
Canada, and beyond. Are they talking about the Atlantic Ocean where we've shot down the first one? Or I don't know what they mean by that. Okay.
Well, beyond would be the... I assume they mean going north would be the Arctic, right? But
maybe south? There were balloons reported over South
United
America.
States, so you can't have United States and then refer to Canada and then say beyond and also being referred to the United States. Of course, who wrote this? This is the same author who said the remote described Hawaii as a remote Pacific state.
That is correct, which is
just a weird way to phrase it. It's
factually correct.
The best kind of correct.
Yeah. U.S. fighter jets were sent to intercept the objects. Reportedly shot several of them, including one described as a cylindrical and silverish gray that was traveling over Alaska at about 40,000 feet. While the phenomenon had died down in recent months, a few days ago, a sighting of another mysterious spherical object over Hawaii reportedly prompted the United States Air Force to scramble 3 F-22 fighter jets. The U.S. Indo-Pacific Command responded to the unidentified radar signature Friday in the vicinity of the island of Hawaii. A spokesman of the Indo-Pacific Command told the War Zone. I like the War Zone. They do good reporting. They do great reporting.
Is it Tyler, what's this guy's name? Tyler Rogaway or whatever?
I'll find out when I'm done with this.
You're not even reading the War Zone. What is this source?
This is like the abbreviated version. The War Zone article is entirely too long for this show.
Balloon.
I just don't like when people take somebody else's article and rewrite it.
Okay, well, as part of our normal daily operations, we closely track all vessels and aircraft in the Indo-Pacific area of operation through a combination of joint capabilities to protect the U.S. homeland, support our allies and partners, and secure the free and open Indo-Pacific.
I thought they were going to say free and open internet.
No, the Indo-Pacific. The outlet also spoke to a Department of Defense spokesperson who said, they say spokesman.
You can't say that.
They say spokesman.
Cancel this person.
The Department of the Department of Defense and the Federal Aviation Administration detected and observed on April 28th, an unmanned balloon off the coast of Hawaii floating at approximately 36,000 feet. Well, they say balloon here. Ownership
it's
of
a balloon-like object, Mike.
Yes. Well, that's also
a cylindrical, round, spherical balloon-like object.
Ownership of the balloon is unknown, but there is no indication.
Well, like someone's name on it?
Maybe. It's have like some weird name on the side of it, like it's an advertisement for some product. It belongs to Tide. It's Goodyear. We shot it down anyways.
Find this Goodyear guy. Kill him.
Take it out. It's scary. Ownership of the balloon is unknown, but there is no indication that it was maneuvering or being controlled by a foreign or adversarial actor. Well,
there's no indication that it's not either.
Exactly. Without it, they don't have a lot of evidence here.
What does Joe Scarborough think about this?
Joe Scarborough? I don't know if I have any clips from Joe Scarborough over here.
Because I'm sure he's got someone talking in his ear telling him to somehow turn this around about Ukraine.
I don't know if they can blame this one on Russia.
They can try.
I doubt that they can.
You wait. Somehow they will make this about Russia helping China with their balloon program.
I probably could see that. I could see that.
Okay.
Let's see. The Warzone article. Who wrote this? You were asking.
I looked it up. It's not
Howard Altman.
Joseph Trevithick.
And it's a pretty lengthy article about this stuff. So
it's very, very girthy.
Yeah.
Very thick article. Look how thick this is.
The Drive.com and the Warzone, they do really good at this this kind of reporting. All right. Well, there you go. There's some weird...
Before you leave, the photo I have up here on screen is of one of the other balloons, which came out several weeks or months afterwards, where they pointed out that apparently we had this was from a U-2 spy plane just flying above it constantly, just kind of watching it all the way across the country.
Look at that guy.
And they only started reporting on it when people could see it over, was it Montana, I think? Wyoming? Somewhere?
Yeah, I think it was Montana. Where they could see it with the naked eye. That's when people started caring about it. And it blew up into a story. People started talking about aliens and UAPs. And then the whole thing just kind of went away.
Aliens!
Well, I think the concern there was it got over Montana and people would just start taking pot shots at it. You can't have that.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all need to be calling damn news!
They did call the damn news.
Call the damn news?
They call the damn news.
Oh, they come to Earth!
Oh, no. What does it say down here?
Y'all need to be shooting this shit right here!
Yeah, okay.
They looking at us!
Okay.
But look at that shit!
Okay, yeah. I forgot. That's a good one, too. That's a really good one. All right. You want to do a news story, or do you want to open up the phones, Cratchit?
Well, let's open the phones.
Okay, sure. Let's go over and open up the phones a little bit.
I would like to hear from Stan in Alaska.
Now let's go ahead and take the phone calls.
614-388-9109. Or you can Skype directly in. We typically don't take phones on Wednesdays, but, Joe's not here. He's in Alaska, destroying the place.
Call in.
And maybe Joe will. Who knows?
Wait, he's in Alaska now? You said he was in Hawaii before.
Oh, yeah, he's destroying Hawaii. My bad. I get the Alaska and Hawaii confused because they both have so many balloons over them.
Yeah. They're both remote Pacific islands.
Yeah.
Or states, sorry.
You have I do have a little follow-up to it. I believe a story that we covered last year at some point. I'll bring this up on the screen. The hunt for Nazi gold in Dutch Village is called off. Yes. The gold had allegedly been buried in the German countryside by Nazi soldiers during World War II. The story goes that during the final days of the Second World War, 4 German soldiers decided to bury a hoard of riches in a field somewhere in the Dutch countryside. Their stolen treasure consisted of gold, jewels, watches, diamonds, and gemstones worth over $15 million in today's money.
Definitely not teeth and gold fillings.
No. All placed inside 4 ammunition cases and buried in the ground. Well, this is very specific. It seems like they have a lot of information about this treasure.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier this year, the National Archives of the Netherlands released a trove of documents to the public that included a map allegedly showing the location of this buried treasure, which we talked about. Ever since, amateur treasure hunters have been attempting to find and retrieve the gold for themselves. They're just going out there like digging random holes, carrying up the countryside.
Well, that was one of the complaints that people had, was they had this rough map, but enough stuff had changed in years, so they've just been digging shit up.
You can't find anything unless you dig.
I have to do it.
I'm going to start at one end of the town. I'm going to work to the other. I'll get there.
Fuck your grass. I need gold. I don't care about your lawn.
I want the gold.
Now, though, with efforts to unearth the treasure having repeatedly come up empty, village officials have called off the search while concluding that the gold simply isn't there anymore. Or they already found it, and they're tired of people tearing up their lawn.
That's exactly the way I'd do it. I'd be like, no, there's no gold. It's not here. Never mind my new car.
Yeah. Stop tearing up my lawn. There is no gold, and that's it. stop looking.
Herman is in the chat, and he says tourists are still there, but now they're looking around in people's gardens, and it's causing problems.
Fuck them.
I bet he's serious. I bet people have.
I think that is the issue. People are just like hopping fences and digging up people's gardens.
Yeah. They went on to say, we have concluded that there is no Nazi treasure in Omarin, said the spokesperson for some weird name. I'm not going to even pronounce it here. Okay, it's just an entirely weird name. I'm not going to pronounce it.
Birgit van Akenquint.
No, I don't think that's it.
Big Jim Tucker.
Oh.
Big Jim Tucker.
Big Jim Tucker. We do assume that the treasure was once buried in Omarin, but it has been removed at some stage. Oh, so they acknowledge it was there. Somebody found it, didn't tell anybody else, and is living large somewhere. Okay, they just admit it. They took it. They found it. Okay.
Wasn't there a similar story? The FBI did that in the U.S. with some buried gold, and they went and stole it and just ran off with it?
Every time you find some kind of weird treasure, like gold treasure in the United States, the FBI always comes by and they take the gold. And it was I think there's a story recently, I think out of California, where someone found like maybe a stack of like gold coins. They called the authorities and they just came in and took it. That's it. And it's like, don't call anybody, just sell it. You know, what are you calling at that point?
This is from the Atlantic. Last summer, FBI steals a trove of Civil War gold.
Oh, was that the famed Confederate treasure of the South? I mean, that's a long story. Maybe
I don't think it was Confederate because it was in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, June 1863. Union soldiers transporting a shipment of gold became lost. Blah 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 blah. Somebody found it, and then they of course told the FBI, who came in like, we need this for evidence.
Whoops! Yoink! That's ours. Evidence. We're investigating the Union and the Confederates. We're working on a case against them.
They're up to no good.
Yeah, it's all going into documents. So there you go.
Yeah. So if you find gold, be it Nazi, be it from Civil War, don't tell people.
You had to shut your trap. Sell it. God, what do you think you are, Indiana Jones?
Go bury it somewhere else.
This belongs in a museum.
It belongs in a museum.
No, it
belongs in my bank account.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Gretchen, let's see what you have over there. You ready?
All right.
Now, don't y'all go relaxing too much. The boys ain't out of trouble yet.
It's true.
Dukes of Hazzard there. So I've got a handful of oddball news, but you mentioned it earlier. It is May 3rd, which means tomorrow is May the 4th, which makes it National Star Trek Day.
Yes,
so
it is.
About Captain Kirk some more, and Spock and Frodo and all those guys from your favorite Star Trek movies.
I am your father.
The X-Men. Here's all my Star Trek stuff here. So let's see. I'm trying to find. I've got a whole list of stuff related to Star Wars. All right. So this one I just found somewhat farcical. We're going to start with this because it's easy to get into. So Yahoo, of course, jumps right in with their version, trying to explain to people how to count numbers on the sides of their DVD cases, or as it's listed in by Netflix. So here's how to watch the movies in order, because apparently this is confusing to people.
I don't know how to watch movies in order. I'm glad they're showing me. Let's see if they have a unique way to watch the Star Wars movies in order. So we'll find out. There it goes. Okay. There goes one movie. May the 4th be with you. How to watch Star Wars in chronological order. Well, good. I'm glad that we're finally getting
going to figure this out.
This information now.
I'm just so tired of all these Star Wars.
It's a little early to get tired about it, but okay. May the 4th be with you. Otherwise known as Star Wars Day. I'm surprised they haven't renamed it as Disney Star Wars Day.
Or Star Wars Day, and every time you say it, you have to put the little trademark in there.
Yeah. It's just a few days away, and what a better way to celebrate than with a Star Wars movie in show marathon. Oh, yes. Along time ago in a galaxy far, 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 far away, the Star Wars universe was just a few movies wide. These days, it is ever-expanding franchise, which includes prequel films like Solo, spin-offs such as Andor, and popular streaming series like The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett. With over 20 movies and shows making up the Star Wars cinematic universe, plus the recently announced upcoming film trilogy. Did you know about that one? The upcoming film trilogy?
Getting sick and tired of all these Star Wars.
That's another reference to Star Wars.
In the new upcoming film trilogy following Daisy Ridley's Rey character, which we all loved.
Wait, did they already do a trilogy about her? They're doing another one?
Another trilogy with Rey.
What am I doing?
At a certain point, these movies become like work.
You got to really pay attention. It's just too much. But yeah. So how to watch these movies? I gotta know. Much like the MCU in recent years, the release order of Star Wars content doesn't always align with where the movie or shows fall in the story's timeline. So while the original Star Wars trilogy starring Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher was released in 1977, there are currently multiple shows and movies predating the events of Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope.
Hello there.
So that's your uncle talking.
Yeah, I guess it is, yeah.
Come here, my little friend.
No, not yet. We haven't gotten the first movie yet. So how do we watch this in the correct order, the correct timeline, which I probably will do. I'll actually start watching this tomorrow. I'll let everyone know what I find out. Episode 1. So you start with Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Then you move on to Episode 2, The Attack of the Clones. Then you watch Star Wars, The Clone Wars, the movie. Then you watch Star Wars, The Clone War series. Okay? Then you're back to Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Wait. Hold on. What the hell is a Clone Wars movie? I thought that was a cartoon TV series, right?
There was a Clone Wars animated movie.
No shit.
You just got to look for it, Cretched. Open up your eyes.
Is this one that was so popular that they're trying to bury it, or was it like part of the TV show?
No, it was good. People seem to enjoy it.
Star Wars Clone Wars movie. Looking this up.
You don't even know what's going on with Star Wars anymore.
I don't know. At a certain point, it's become noise.
That's your uncle talking.
It's not my. Well, he'd probably agree.
So Episode 3. So after the Clone Wars series, you do Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Then you move on to Star Wars: The Bad Batch.
What the hell is The Bad Batch?
It's about clones. It's about clone soldiers that are bad. They're autonomous. They can do their own thing, man. Get with the times. Please.
I've honestly, I have never heard of The Bad Batch.
Good.
Yeah, thanks, Palpatine.
Then after The Bad Batch, you want to hit Solo, A Star Wars Story. Then you want to hit the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series. Then you want to hit Star Wars Rebels. Then you want to do the Andor series, which, in my opinion, is the best Star Wars content produced since the 2000s. Then, after Andor, you want to do Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Then you want to do Episode 4, A New Hope. Then Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Then Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Then you want to do The Mandalorian. Then you want to do Book of Boba Fett. Then you want to do Star Wars Resistance, which I think is an animated series. I have no idea what this thing is. Star Wars Resistance.
Star Wars Resistance. I'm going to look at it. Is this another TV series?
Then you want to do Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Then you want to do The Last Jedi. Then The Rise of Skywalker. You got to do that all.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
No, you're watching all these movies before you go to Toshi Station.
You can waste time with your friends when your chores are done.
Yeah.
What the hell is Resistance? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in here.
It's just there's just
wait. It keeps going. It says what's Star Wars Vision? It says bonus Star Wars Visions.
There's just too much.
I think it's too much.
Star Wars Visions another animated. How many cartoon series are there in Star Wars?
There's a lot.
Maybe 4?
Actually, 4 may not be far off.
I think so, yeah.
Don't believe the 5.6.
Are there 5.6 of them? Are they working on the 6th one?
It could be. Like, could be in between seasons. Oh, my God.
It's too much of this.
Star Wars has fallen.
Talk about beating a dead horse or milking a dry cow. Good Lord.
They're really, they're getting everything they can out of this thing. But that's what's happening tomorrow, people. So I think we'll all be watching this together. I'll be starting, in order to watch all of this tomorrow, I'll be starting at 1 a.m. and powering through it.
Yeah, I guess how long would it take? That's the next question.
Yeah.
And if I were writing this freaking article, that's what I would do. Is how long would it take to start to finish all the way through this?
That's a good question for ChatGPT.
Hey, Internet, figure this shit out.
Hey, man. Oh, man. He wants me to log in. Let's see if I can log in. I'm kind of curious. Let's see here. I'm logging in. I'm typing rapidly, feverishly. Here we go. How long would it take for me to watch every movie, every Star Wars TV show and movie? How long? Add it all up.
You got people in the chat are guessing 5 days, 3 days.
149 hours and 41 minutes.
Was that all the TV shows too?
According to ChatGPT, and they have it listed here.
That's only 5.6 days.
I don't think I can get that done in one day.
No, you cannot watch 6.2 days worth of stuff in one day.
At what speed would I have to watch it in order? Okay.
Hey, these movies are only 25 minutes long. What the hell?
At what speed would I have to watch in order to view 1 hour?
Yeah, we've got people bringing up, what about Caravan of Courage, the Ewok Adventure? What was the other one? The Battle for Endor? What about all that shit? No one remembers Battle for Endor with, I can't think of the guy's name now, the diabetes guy.
Oh.
What the heck's his name?
I would have to watch everything at 625% speed.
You better get going.
Yeah. So if I can tune everything I watch at 6.25 times the normal speed, I can get it all done in a 24-hour period.
Yes.
Okay. Finally, ChatGPT is paying off.
Yeah, totally worth all the money that Microsoft spent on it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next story.
Fly casual.
I don't know, fly casual. So I did post into the Discord today that today being Star Wars Day, or tomorrow being Star Wars Day, looking for any sort of Star Wars related oddball news we could bring up.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a couple from people. This one, credit to Jigs222 in the Discord, brings us this story, which I will put in the carrot shop. If you are living in Colorado and want to really get in on some Star Wars action, here you go.
I do. I really, really do. Okay. So here's a headline here. Star Wars themed license plates set to be auctioned in Colorado.
That's some good news on that front.
How much we looking at? I'll get in on this auction. I don't even live there.
I'll give you $14,000.
Okay. I don't know if that seems a little excessive for a license plate, but we'll see. It depends what the art is on the license plate. It all depends on how good this license plate really looks. So May the 4th be with you in Colorado. Yes, the Colorado DMV and the Colorado Disability Funding Committee have teamed up to auction off the rights to use 12 different Star Wars themed license plate configurations. They include, so all plates configurations are currently have a starting bid of $100. So that's the starting bid for this.
Get in on this.
Yeah. Okay.
I tell you what, I'll give you $14,000.
He's going in hard.
Hulk just comes in and buys them all out. I need all these.
He's going in real hard with that bid.
The starting bid just ruins it for everybody.
Jesus Christ, Hulk. You ruin every
auction. That's not how
auction.
auctions work.
You ruin every goddamn auction. Well, the plates include Akbar, Anakin, Boba. I bet Boba's going to go for a lot of money. Chewie, Fett. Oh, Fett's going to go for a lot of money too. May the 4th. Mr. Vader. Who wants to have the Mr. Vader Star Wars?
Yeah,
why not just Vader?
Was that his formal name, like in the original cut?
Hey, Vader. No, it's Mr. Vader.
Mr. Vader, you.
What is thy bidding, my master?
Then my X-Wing, Obi-Wan, Red 2, Red 5. Oh, okay.
This is Red 5. I'm going in.
What happened to 3 and 4?
Yeah, well, they have Red 2 down here. They just have Red 2 and Red 5. I guess Red 2, Wedge Antilles, maybe?
May have been Wedge. I don't remember.
Red 5 standing by.
And then you can have Star War. Not Star Wars. You can have Star...
Just one of them.
You can have Star War. Fuck the S.
You have to pick. Why wouldn't they have Star Wars, but like STR Wars? To at least make it have it make sense.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just lose the A.
People are asking in the chat, how much for Porkins?
Yeah. Where's my Porkins plate?
I paid $14,000 for Star War?
Yeah.
I didn't get the whole thing.
This is bullshit. Well, Jar Jar. They ain't got Jar Jar on here. You notice that?
Yeah, someone has that and they won't give that up.
I'm keeping that. That's my lucky plate. He's the key to all this.
Here's the link. He's the key to all this. Lucas. Here's the link to the bidding, the auction.
Oh, good.
Starts tomorrow, 8 a.m. Mountain Time.
Charlie.
Lasts for a week?
Charlie, you got to get in on this. I need Charlie of Macroaggressions driving around in an Obi-Wan Kenobi plate.
Or Mr.
Vader.
Or Star War.
If these are the real plates we're looking at, they didn't license the artwork from Star Wars. It's just the goddamn Rocky Mountains with, like, these words on them.
John Denver's full of shit.
Like there's no Death Star, there's no X-Wing, there's no lightsabers. Like if I'm going to have Mr. Vader, I want a red lightsaber. I want Darth Vader's helmet up there. But no, we're not getting that at all.
Go away.
Still like Star War.
Star War. I only can afford one.
Whoever gets that's going to immediately put a sticker next to the end of their plate with this on it.
They're going to get pulled over and shot.
That cop's going to pull him over. Hey, buddy, you're missing an S.
You're tampering with state property.
Also, I'm skeptical of Chewy being spelled with a Y.
Yeah, me too. I think it's technically spelled with an I.
Yeah, I think it's Chewie, which would fit on the plate.
Who's behind it? This feels like a Star Trek fan's behind this.
Someone who hates Star Wars.
Yeah. There's a lot of us around that would do something like this, that make it convincing, like you actually care, but not really.
Yeah, this is Wait a minute, wait, I just noticed. Look at the plate for Obi-Wan.
Yeah, it's got the...
It's not even spelled correctly.
It's got the number 1 in there.
It's got a number 1 in there.
And then also the one. Obi-Wan.
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 Moss Eisley Spaceport.
Put that one up on screen for everybody.
Obi-Wan.
That's no.
So here's the fun thing. I wonder if you can look up these plates after they get issued. You could find out who are these poor bastards who have the wrong.
Oh, these plates are getting stolen.
Well, actually, that's probably true.
Yeah.
So there's the everyone watching the stream. There's the Obi-Wan plate. If you want to get in on that one,
it's got to be a misprint. This is going to be worth some money. It's like when they have those goofy baseball cards that are misprints. Like, oh, I got to get that.
It says proceeds benefit the Colorado Disability Funding Committee used to provide grants to organizations.
Fuck them.
You still have to. Oh, interesting. You still have to pay all state fees with these too. So even if you spend $14,000 on the plate, you're still required to pay all the other fees.
Brother.
I ain't doing it. I was walking in there, grabbing my plane. I'm leaving. I'll drive it legally with this.
I don't have a car. I'm just going to put it on my bike.
Yep. That's what Red 5 would do. They're not going to pay taxes to the empire. We kitty? No.
In the immortal words of Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I ain't got no plate.
Oh, boy. What a disaster. What a disaster.
They need to think this through better next time they announce some sort of, Star Wars themed or whatever sort of themed event.
Their brainstorming committee really was lackluster on this one. They probably farmed this out to the intern who was doing everything on Chat GPT and like Google, and this is what he came up with. A bunch of bullshit.
So you're saying he forgot until the day it was due?
Yeah.
Ted, we have that meeting about those license plates in 10 minutes. Oh, shit.
Fuck. I got to do this now? Okay.
Or the words of Ken Delanian.
Fuck. Hold on. Let me print some stuff off.
He's quickly looking through for any Star Wars themed things in the database, and they're all taken.
Oh, my God. My Photoshop is crashing. They're expecting mock-ups right now. I'll just put the Rocky Mountains in the background for every one of them. They're expecting original artwork for each one of the plates. No, just put the Rocky Mountains. This is simple.
Wait, I didn't even spell Obi-Wan correct.
Yeah, fuck it. Shit. My X-Wing. Oh, yeah, that sounds great. Okay.
My X-Wing. Which is a famous line from the movie where Luke goes up and washes, and he goes, "This is my X-Wing." Then he sings a song.
Why do they have Red 2 with the numeral 2 at the end, but Red 5 doesn't have the numeral 5 at the end? It seems inconsistent.
Yes. I think they did their best on what was Star Wars themed, but again, why wouldn't you find better license plates?
Bullshit! All of it.
I agree, Arnold. This is all bullshit.
Something's not adding up here. Can't believe they didn't think this string all the way through. But
you tell me they couldn't get Han Solo? I mean, that would fit, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, you have to leave off an O. It'd be Han Sol.
Han Sol. Han Solo. There you go. I made it work.
Han Sol. They got Chewie on there. No Princess Leia. Not even a Leia up there.
R2-D2, you couldn't get that?
Where's the female representation on this? I don't see any female representation on any of these plates. No Mon Marthma or Moff Gideon.
Marthma?
Mon Marthma.
Pass.
There's no Mon Martha. There's not.
Oh, good Lord. The Mr. Vader one just confuses me.
Big Jim Tucker.
Get Big Jim Tucker up there. Why not?
Why not like Dr. Vader? He couldn't even give him like a PhD or something?
Yeah, maybe.
Tom Shimabukuro.
You remember Tom Shimabukuro from Star Wars? He was a background character.
He's just that guy in the back. He's over there.
He was Akbar's co-pilot. You remember that? Tom Shimabukuro?
Tom Shimabukuro.
He was that guy standing. He's one of the two guys standing next to the when they fired the laser, and he was standing next to it.
Oh yeah, then he was stepped on by the AT-AT. Oh yeah, that guy.
Tom Papper.
Tom Papper was in Star Wars.
Just selling Star Wars, vaguely Star Wars related background character names.
Yeah. I'd buy it. I buy one of those. Those would be fine. All right, we'll move on. Let's see. We'll see what else you got over there.
All right. All right, so last Star Wars story I have, it's from earlier this year. So they do a big convention or a big conference called Star Wars Celebration.
Oh.
Where thousands of people show up and the whole place smells like BO, I'm sure. And there was a fight that broke out. So credit to Herman for digging up this nonsense.
Oh, yeah. Huge fight takes place at Star Wars Celebration.
Oh, really?
Blasters and lightsabers probably flying. I'm guessing. I'm going to guess.
License plates everywhere.
License plates flying. I'm guessing someone hit another person's Ewok with a lightsaber, and it was uncalled for. There was a little too much touching.
It probably touching. It probably started with someone pointing out that someone's costume was not 100% correct.
Yeah, probably. Sorry.
hell was that noise?
That was a sonic depth charge released by Jango Fett's Slave One ship.
Oh, right from the bullshit movies.
They're great. They're good comparatively to the new sequels. The George Lucas prequels are like cinematic masterpieces.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Compared to the new Disney shit,
the new ones the new ones will work. I don't think the prequels hold up.
Okay. A horde of fans battle against one another at the planet's biggest Star Wars convention. Star Wars Celebration Europe 2023 has been taking place across the weekend in London's Excel Convention Center. The 4-day event, fans worldwide came together to celebrate the galaxy George Lucas created, cosplaying characters from across Lucasfilm's canon of film, television, games, books, and comics to hear the latest announcements and share in their love of the Force. The bustling convention floor is like entering Mos Eisley or Mos Espa itself. That's a deep, what is Mos Espa versus Mos Eisley, you know?
Isn't Mos Espa the spaceport and Mos Eisley was the closest town to where Luke lived? I don't know.
You don't need to see his identification.
Maybe. I'm not, I should know. I should know that.
Pretty sure Mos Espa was the spaceport and Mos Eisley was like the shitty little like crossroads where he goes down to get his power converters at Tosche Station.
Oh, okay. Okay, there's stormtroopers, aliens, Jedi, Sith, and everything in between going on about their day, visiting packed showcases, shopping, and exploring what is on offer. So what about this goddamn fight? I want to hear about this fight. So, but some of the fans take things one step further, arranging large-scale meetups and pop-up style events over the weekend. One of these, captured by a fan, shared it on Twitter. And what we're looking at here are quite a few nerds on a bridge, and they're attacking each other with lightsabers very casually, and then they walk past each other. And that's what we're seeing. Okay. That's exactly what happened there.
It was excitement.
Looked absolutely. They're considering this a fight at Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, this story's bullshit, Herman.
The video shows a horde of lightsaber wielding Star Wars fans.
Horde. There's like 8 people there.
There's just a handful. A horde of lightsaber wielding Star Wars fans igniting their blades and running at one another with distant battle cries being heard.
Nerds!
That was the battle cry.
That was the battle cry. Come on, guys. The setting is reminiscent of the Duel of the Fates, with the bridge mimicking the walkways Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn fought against Darth Maul at the end of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, in 1999. Yeah, Herman, this is bullshit. I want to see blood. I want to see angry, crying fans. I want to see torn cosplay costumes. I want to see people that are so scarred by this event, they have forsaken Star Wars for the rest of their lives. Because it's just too dangerous.
So I just noticed in the video, they start at far ends of the opposite ends of the bridge. They run towards each other. They have their little fight, and they walk away. Do you think they all just got winded, and that's why it stopped?
Yeah, I think they just couldn't take it anymore. I think they just gave up. So they lit up their lightsabers. They're running at one another, and they kind of meet in the middle. They kind of slap each other a little bit, playing grab ass with one another, and then it lasts for like 5 seconds, and they move on.
Bunch of goddamn nerds.
They don't. Yeah, work out a little bit. Do some push-ups before you go to this thing.
You guys got to do your cardio.
You got to get into Jedi fighting shape. You guys aren't doing it.
Obi-Wan would be disappointed.
Fuck yeah, I would. Obi-Wan.
That still cracks me up. They couldn't even spell it correctly.
The weekend has seen some big announcements for the future of Star Wars entertainment, with a trio of new films revealed by Lucasfilm. The boss, Kathleen Kennedy, is basically saying, "Hey, we're doing new movies."
And she started her announcement with, "You thought these last ones were bad.
Like it or not, we're doing this stuff because we don't got anything else.
What do you got to do? Stop us?
Exclusive looks at some of the more highly anticipated TV shows, such as The Acolyte and The Skeleton Crew. So whether or not they actually do this or not, like they announce Star Wars stuff all the time, and it gets yanked down because they over-promise and then they under-deliver in multiple different ways. I think there's a lot of turmoil within Lucasfilm. I mean, given what happened with the most recent season of Mandalorian, which was kind of lackluster, and it didn't. It seemed like it really could have been 3 or 4 episodes, and they expanded it to 8. Either Jon Favreau gave up on it, or he's being sidelined.
Well, and I noticed that I watched the first season whenever that came out several years ago. Well, that was before COVID, I think. And I noticed that I was like, the series with these streaming series they've recently been moving to, you only get 6 or 8 or 10 episodes. But when you have a shorter series like that, 8 episodes, 10 episodes, and there's already like filler episodes that don't do anything, it just says to me they're just out of ideas. So it's just incredibly odd to think about.
I don't think Jon Favreau is the kind of guy who gets out of ideas, especially when you're this passionate about Star Wars, which I think that he is. I think what happened, he had a plan for his series, and that plan got sidelined by higher ups, and they wanted it to go in a direction that he did not initially plan. And so he was forced by their executive decisions to rewrite his story. And so he's like, okay, I really didn't plan on this. I'll throw this in here. I'll change this over here. That will line up with what you guys are trying to do in the future, but that's not what I envisioned. I think there are some internal battles going on. They can't get on the same page, and when that happens, you're going to produce mediocre content, which is what we've seen out of Star Wars pretty much. Besides like Andor in the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, it's been pretty mediocre.
Do you think he kind of drew the line when they wanted him to introduce that new character, Obi-Wan?
Yeah, probably. It's like, we can't do this. It doesn't make any sense. You're not even following the lore anymore. I think it has to do with Baby Yoda, and that the higher-ups failed to anticipate the need and the want for Baby Yoda merchandise. Baby Yoda was only supposed to be included in the first 2 seasons, and then he was supposed
to say, it seems to me like they introduce his character and they don't know what to do with it.
Well, he was supposed to move on to be trained as a Jedi by Luke and move that story on to Luke doing the whole Jedi thing. But they were like, no. I think the higher up said, no, this thing is so cute. It's so popular. We can sell so much more merchandise with this thing. It's got to be in The Mandalorian. So they forced Jon Favreau to write this thing back in and kind of weave it in and out of the storyline. I think that maybe what happened. I'm just guessing. And I think there's a lot of other people out there that have that theory too, like Doomcock and some of the other big nerd shows that I watch. I agree with their theories on it. I was like, that kind of makes sense. But okay. All right, let's do another story, Gretchen.
All right.
What am I doing?
So we are out of Star Wars land here.
What?
I've got a bunch of, sorry.
I'm just so tired of all these Star Wars.
Let's see. So, it's not. I don't want to do that one. Oops, we forgot a Bigfoot story. Sorry about that.
Oh.
Are you going to go back to that one? There's Bigfoot news.
Well, I got some paranormal stuff for Saturday. If you can
save that for Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, let me double check the date on this. It's about a thing, which the date is June 9th. Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Remind me Saturday. We'll talk about Bigfoot stuff. Let's see. How about this one? So here's a guy. Wrecks his truck, causes all sorts of havoc on a highway, but not in the way you're thinking.
Now I'm curious.
I think there might be a news story with this one. I'm not 100% sure. No news story. Sorry.
Crash unleashes 1 million bees onto Florida highway. Oh, boy.
Man, I got mixed emotions about this one.
Yeah, I agree, too. I'm not sure about this. Everyone likes a good car crash, but bees, that's a whole other problem. A semi-truck hauling beehives crashed early Tuesday, releasing a swarm of bees onto unsuspecting morning commuters. That'll wake you up in the morning, driving through a swarm of bees in the morning.
You need one of those signs by the highway that says caution bees.
What's worse is every time there's a wreck, people slow down and you're in traffic and then you're just waiting there. Now you're waiting there and potentially are being attacked by millions of bees.
Especially if there's lots of traffic, so you slow down and it's morning, so you're like, I'm going to roll my windows down, let some air in.
Yeah. No, it's so hot in here. No, you're fucked. You're going to screw yourself. I'm sorry. I was trying to roll down the window. Yeah, there we go. Florida Highway Patrol told NBC affiliate the truck was hauling beehives, which were home to around 1 million bees. The crash happened on US 301 near Baldwin, which is just outside Jacksonville city limits. No one was hurt in the crash, according to the police department, but some of the hives were damaged, leaving the swarm bees confused, and they're gathering around the truck. Beekeepers loaded the intact hives into other trucks before the road reopened around 7 a.m. The damaged hives were hauled away along with the semi. So, okay. It sounds like it all ended well. The bees got back in their hive, and everything's A-okay.
Do you think they got them all? Do you think someone had to go through and count them?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like 1 million bees, you figure there's going to be a few stragglers. Like they're not all going to be in there.
So you think this truck shows up to some farmer, and he's like, there's only 999,998.
We got most of them. There's 5 that we can't find.
You need to go back out and get those bees.
Find the bees.
I'm not paying.
I ain't leaving here. I ain't moving the truck until we find every last bee.
This bill of lading says 1 million bees.
And I'm counting them one at a time. Pick them up and throw them in a bucket. Boy. That's some unique insurance that you'd have to do that. It's not like your standard truck insurance, right?
You need apiary insurance.
Yeah. The General's not covering this one, are they? I don't think so.
Calling State Farm. You guys cover bees?
I'm hauling about 1 million bees. And I'm telling you, I might crash.
I might have lost a few of them. How much do you insure one bee for?
I want to insure 1 bee. I need $1 million policy on 1 bee.
Don't ask questions. Send me the forms.
Yeah, I wonder if you can just take out insurance on 1 insect. I doubt you could find. I bet the premium would be off the hook. You couldn't deal with that.
Well, I bet you could find someone who would do that, but you're going to
the mob. The mob would do it for you.
Oh, I got you a VIG at 6%. No, that's $350 a week. So you know what you're doing here.
Don't worry, no one's touching this bee.
You leave the bees to us.
We're holding the bees for you until you need the bees. You come to me.
Tell you what, you tell me where you need the bees. I get the bees there.
Yeah, it's the only people that would take care of it. One more story before we get out of here. Come on.
All right.
He's so in critical condition.
I've got a follow-up story about bears. I've got an Andre the Giant story. I've got a story about selling body parts, selling body parts, and a story about a guy drilling a hole in the back of his own head.
Now, selling body parts.
All right.
I need money.
So we had a series of stories about body parts gone missing, if you recall. A lot in
heads.
Denver, actually.
A lot of Denver and Colorado news.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on there? Yeah.
It's the last people who complained about the OB11 license plate. So here's a woman who just said, look, I'm going to take these body parts. I'm going to sell them.
No one's using them.
This guy doesn't need them.
Yeah. Arkansas woman pleads not guilty to selling over 20 boxes of stolen human body parts.
This is quite the story.
20 boxes. Well, how big are these boxes? That's the question. An Arkansas woman pleaded not guilty to charges. She stole body parts from medical school cadavers and sold them through Facebook for about $11,000. Wow, okay.
Hulk was willing to pay more.
I tell you what, I'll give you $14,000.
Outbid again. And I wanted those body parts. I needed them.
on eBay. Damn it, Hulk! Who's this H. Hogan guy?
She sold it through the Facebook marketplace. I'm surprised Facebook didn't flag this. They take down everything else. They take down Hunter Biden stuff. They take down, Ukraine disinformation. They won't take down body parts.
That's cool.
That's fine. That's good. Candace Chapman Scott, a 36-year-old former mortuary service worker, is accused of selling 20 boxes of everything from human skin to skulls to a man in Pennsylvania, according to a federal grand jury indictment unsealed by Little Rock. So one guy bought 20 boxes of stuff?
One guy bought all this stuff. What's he building?
Something's going on. I don't know. Well, we're going to find out what this guy is doing. And was the receiver charged? So Scott was charged with 12 counts of mail fraud, wire fraud, and interstate transportation of stolen property. A lawyer representing her did not immediately return a phone call from NPR requesting comment. According to the court documents, Scott worked for a company that offered commercial cremation services. One of their clients was an anatomy lab at the University of Arkansas, which used donated cadavers for medical education and research. One of the company's scheduled pickup days, she messaged the owner of a Facebook group. What group is that? Explaining how...
they do name it here at one point. Private Facebook group named Oddities.
Oh, okay. She messaged a private Facebook group explaining how she acquired the corpses. Named Oddities, the private Facebook group contained about 380 members and bills itself as a safe way to shop. Well, okay. I follow your page in work, and I love it, Scott wrote to the owner, according to the indictment. Just out of curiosity, would you know anyone in the market for a fully intact, embalmed brain? I'm just looking to get rid of it. By the way, do you know anybody? Scott sent pictures of 2 brains and a heart. The man offered $1,100 or $1,200 via PayPal and gave Scott pointers on how to ship the 3 organs to him in Enola, Pennsylvania, via the U.S. Postal Service. Yeah, use the USPS. Why not?
Just put some stamps on it. It's fine.
Yeah.
This is what I want. This is what I need.
Over the course of the next 9 months, Scott proceeded to ship the man an ear, an arm, lungs, liver, kidneys, hands, breasts, penises, multiple penises.
Only one head, but this guy had multiple dicks.
Yeah. Fetuses, skin, skull, and one whole human head. In exchange, he paid her about $10,000 or $11,000 in 16 separate PayPal transfers. Each time, Scott returned the rest of the remains, cremated it to the school. It seems like she was doing a service to science.
Wait. So this little note here about she returned the rest of the remains. So she was taking entire corpses out of the mortuary and then chopping them up?
The penis from this guy. I just need the skin from this one. I'll take his skull, and I'll take her breasts. Yeah.
So you think in the morning she's coming back into work with just like several large bags and people don't think anything of it?
She's just walking in with grocery bags. Yeah. Don't worry, but don't mind me. Just take it out the trash.
Lunch.
Just my lunch in this large 40-gallon plastic bag.
Got a hockey bag dripping stuff out of the back of it.
The indictment does not name the buyer, but separate state charges connect the case to Pennsylvania resident Jeremy Lee Pauley, age 40.
I like that. They say, this doesn't actually say who did it, but it was this guy.
But Jeremy did it.
But it was him. There he is.
Of course it was Jeremy.
His license plate is OB11.
OB11. Pauley was charged by the Cumberland County Criminal Court with 4 counts of receiving stolen property. Well, he didn't know it was stolen?
Well, purchasing stolen property is not absolving you of,
You're right.
Of the crime. But was it really stolen? I mean, who owned it? Can you own a person? I think we should litigate
property,
this.
Probably technically property of the facility she was working at. I mean,
I'm guessing that's what they mean. But do they actually? If you go to get cremated at a mortuary, do they own you?
Who's the victim here? Who's the victim here? Hey,
Science.
I was going to burn those parts, but you sold them. I wanted to burn them, but you sold them on eBay or Facebook.
On Facebook.
The police were tipped off to Pauley's purchases in June of 2020 or June of 2022, according to the press release. Who tipped him off? Yeah, I got a hot tip for you.
Hey, look over here.
This guy's buying penises. I've been watching them.
Check out what this guy gets in the mail.
I go through all his mail. It's constantly brains and penises.
It's just heads and penises.
And it looks like the real stuff, too.
Not even good ones.
Not even the Chinese knockoff. This looks like real American peni. In July, a caller reported finding human organs and human skin resting in 5-gallon buckets in Paulie's basement. Why are you going through Jeremy's basement?
What's he doing? Who's the caller and what are they doing in the basement?
Yeah. Why are you going through Jeremy's basement? It's locked. You shouldn't be down there.
Just a dirt floor and a big hole with people in it. I don't know what's going on down there.
Officials confirmed the report, confiscating all remains and intercepted any additional set of packages containing parts as they were being shipped in Scranton. Ah, the Biden connection.
Good point. I wonder what he's up to over there.
Yeah.
Are they trying to build a new Joe Biden slowly?
Maybe. Younger, more lean and fit, with multiple penises.
$6 million man. Now with all new skin.
Paulie's Facebook page is still selling a human hand and a full set of human ribs, which Paulie says came from France. Okay.
Yeah, I bet they did.
All right. I believe him.
I got no reason to doubt this guy.
Yeah.
It's totally legit.
Jeremy's been an honest guy. Up until this point.
He's been forthright to us up to now, so probably.
The guy claims to sell human body parts, and that's what we get. He's been an honest broker. A website bearing his name describes him as a preservation specialist who works to produce educational tools through reconditioning retired medical remains.
Ew.
Dead bodies.
Yeah. We stretch the skin over the face.
A spokesperson for the University of Arkansas Medical School told NPR that the school is appalled that anybody would desecrate medical donations for their own gain.
I thought they were going to say a spokesperson for the medical school said, who took what now?
Yeah. Human bodies are an indispensable aid in the education of medical students, but we are going to burn them. We are extremely respectful of our donors when they're in our care before we throw them in a furnace.
Or we chop them up. We need that skin back.
Yeah. That's my skin. I was going to use it as stocking stuffers.
It's my Halloween costume.
My kids love skin.
Oh, God.
Each year, the school holds a ceremony for medical students to honor the deceased donors who help them supplement their education, Taylor says. They partner with local cemeteries and crematories. Cemeteries to house the ashes or return them to the family upon request. Okay.
What could you donate like a dead relative to the medical school, but ask for it back when you're done?
Yeah, like I changed my mind.
Yeah, you can use this, but I need that back.
Yeah, I kind of want that back.
It wouldn't be Thanksgiving without Meemaw at the table.
Taylor said the FBI is trying to identify which cadavers were impacted, but it's a challenge given the embalming process. Ones? Like, yeah, we don't know who's where. We got foots and feet going all through the mail.
Step one is he's come in, so we chop them all up.
Yeah, I don't know.
So we don't know who.
There's so many hands out there and heads in the mail. It's tough to track.
Yeah, we call this the hands room. It's just full of hands.
The school and the cremation company knew nothing of the sale until they were contacted by the FBI last summer. Now, the company fired Scott immediately. I sue for wrongful termination. Nowhere did it say I couldn't sell the body parts.
I understand this is generally frowned upon, but...
Yeah, I thought it was just frowned upon. Like, maybe you shouldn't, but... Yeah, wrongful termination. Scott is in custody with the bail hearing.
Was that wrong? Should I not have done this?
Yeah, was that wrong? Should I not have done that? Where's my Seinfeld?
We're supposed to act in a civilized way.
No, that's not it. Not that one.
Was that wrong? Should I not have done that? Yeah. I gotta plead ignorance on this thing, because if anyone had said anything to me at all when I first started here that sort of thing was frowned upon.
Well,
I just see the argument going exactly that way, like word for word.
Scott is in custody with a bail hearing scheduled for Tuesday. Her trial is set to begin on May 30th. So we're all pulling for send her your hands, whatever kind of spare body parts you got laying around. She needs to fund her attorney somehow.
What, by selling extra parts?
Yeah.
These were mine. I brought them from home.
Yeah. Chop off your toes, send it to her. Who knows?
One toe at a time.
All right. I think we're getting out of here.
We've done it. Made a mess of it.
Yeah, we did. Wow. I'm just kind of amazed of how many body parts really do travel through courier in this country, whether severed heads in Colorado, body parts from Arkansas to Pennsylvania. I think we're only scratching the surface here with what really is being shipped.
You know, it raises some questions. Do you think at a certain point the Postal Service would be like, this is like the third hand this week?
Our dogs aren't trained to smell for body parts. They smell for marijuana, and that's it. I'm surprised they don't have, like, dogs that sniff out for this kind of stuff.
Body sniffing dogs?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they got them. Like search and rescue dogs, searching for, like, humans. Remain.
Yeah, but these are like embalmed cadavers, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe that changes everything. I don't know. Kind of wonder how much time she can get for this. Like, I want to follow the trial. Like, what's going to happen to her?
All right, the trial of the century?
This could be the trial of the century. I think they're going to try to railroad her.
Make an example of her.
Yeah,
everyone else out there working, thinking about taking body parts. Don't forget that happened to that lady a couple years ago.
And what's going to happen to Jeremy? When's his trial start? I don't know. I think Jeremy's going to get off scot-free because, like, there's somebody who's just down in his basement. You know, it's kind of...
What are you doing in my basement? You can't use that as evidence.
That's bullshit. He's running a legitimate Facebook business. Leave him alone.
By the way, isn't that how all the horror movies go? Like someone sneaks into the murderer's house and starts looking around in the basement?
That would be kind of freaky. If you go through Jeremy's basement, you're just finding buckets of body parts. Like, oh my God, Jeremy, what have you been up to, dude?
This is just full of penises.
This is crazy. You got a bucket full of penises over here.
And to be fair, it's labeled.
They're all labeled.
Penis.
They're labeled by length. Very detailed. We'll be back on Saturday, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And go to obdmpod.com if you want to support the show. There's links there. If you want to join the Discord, join Patreon or submit a donation through PayPal. That's how you do it. To kind of get rid of all the ruffians out there. Roughstabouts. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Gretchen Chablagoo.
Keep watching the skis.
I'm back, baby!
Would you believe when I was 18, I had a silver dollar collection?
Brought to you by Pfizer.
I hated what liquor had done to Roger
Mistakes
Clemens.
were made here.
Look at your child.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
There's no question you screwed up.
I'm just chilling in Cedar Rapids.
That's about all.
Shablagoo.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
We're done!
No.
The show is over!
Let me get your
Get
supplies.
the fuck
Let me
out
get
of
the
here!
cleaning supplies.